everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and we will discuss on AI ethics and bias mitigations. We have our world famous speaker, Mr. Daniel. My first questions to Mr. Daniel: how can we ensure transparency and accountability in AI decision making process, particularly in high stake area like healthcare? And it's been my question explore the need for explainable AI model that provide clear reasoning for their decision and identifies who is accountable for those decisions. So what you want to share about that?
Well, yeah, thanks again for the invite, Sharif. And once again, I put out good thoughts for the unrest happening in your homeland of Bangladesh, and best wishes for peace and prosperity there, as always. But yes, AI is definitely in the news, and I like to think of it as machine learning rather than AI, because really it's not demonstrable that it's doing actual intelligence. It's mimicking what we think of as intelligence and even consciousness, perhaps. But it's really just a autocomplete. You know how when you're typing on your computer and there's predictive text that tries to fill in the next word? Well, it is using all of human language history to do these kinds of autocomplete functions. So as you can guess, we have everything that's been written is not something that is necessarily moral or humane or good. So we're really creating an amplification of a very amoral history, because, as you know, that the internet is used for all kinds of functions. English languages, all languages are used for all kinds of functions. Not all of them savory, not all of them something that we would want to teach to future generations or even our own generation. And I think because of this bias that you speak of, we are biasing more and more echo or reverberation. We're biasing toward more feedback of what was previously expressed. And this is not necessarily a good thing. It may, well, of course it needs human moderation to guide it, to say we should not have malevolent expressions used, but it's going to be a problem. It's not going to go away. Privacy is an issue, of course. I think we have something called open source intelligence, which is used to catch bad guys, hopefully, although since it's open source, anyone can use it. So we need to be aware of who's using open source information, open source intelligence. But yeah, I think we need more human mitigation of large language models and more privacy. People are far too lax about what they let the internet know about themselves. And I would think that everyone has to become way more vigilant about protecting their own privacy, even to the extent of using these alternative operating systems, such as there's one called Urbit, Urbit, and that is a completely blank slate, ground up, built from the ground up operating system. And it's not a bad idea to have a backup like that, because as we see in Bangladesh right now, the internet kill switch has been thrown. Phones are down, internet is down, and everyone should have a failover mode, a backup communication, community health mode, as it were. So I don't know if I quite addressed your question. Do you want to rephrase it in case I missed?
No, sure. No, excellent. What measure can be implemented to prevent and mitigate bias in AI system, especially those used in sensitive applications such as healthcare and criminal justice, like addressing the strategy for identifying, reducing, and managing bias in AI to ensure fairness and equity in AI application? What you want to share about these things?
Yeah, excellent. Another highly topical point. I actually would use the Norwegian justice model. In the country of Norway, they removed references to the word race, which actually was not used in language until about the 1930s. And we saw what kinds of awful racial hatreds and conflicts came about since the 1930s. So, what they've done is just to use the word unfair prejudice, because unfair prejudice can exist in many forms. You can have ageism, you can have gender discrimination, you could have ableism, you could have fat shaming. All these things are unfair discriminations. We all have human potential. We should all be treated humanely and with equity and with an equal shot at having a good quality of life. So to do this, we should get rid of words like race. We should have a lot of human mediation to make sure the language models being used are not overly biased or malevolent or representing outdated values and ethics systems. So we can't put the thing on automatic. We have to have a lot of very hands-on human moderation of these systems. Although the tendency is going to be to, oh yeah, it's smart, just let it do its thing. It's a smart computer. But no, we cannot give away our agency to big statistical autocomplete systems of machine learning.
Mhm. Thank you. My next question is for you. Uh, what ethical guidelines should govern the use of AI in autonomous decision making, sensors, and how do we ensure these guidelines are followed, considering the creation and enforcement of ethical standard for AI systems that make independent decision, ensure these decisions are ethically sound? What do you think about that?
Well, I was a fan when Google's motto was "Don't be evil," but apparently they got rid of that motto, probably because it was holding back their autonomous systems. But we should not grant too much agency to autonomous systems. We always need to have a human in the loop, and hopefully an ethical human in the loop. I like what they do in Germany. They every corporation, for instance, has to have a member of a union sitting on the corporate board, and I would institute similar guidelines that we should have ecologists and true value pricing economists sitting on all kinds of decision making bodies. We know that we're in planetary overshoot. We're using 4.5 times more planet than we have available. So this is a worldwide problem, and it's going to take hands-on. I think it's a question of our ecosystem becoming better harmonious with our ecosystem. We need to have, like we have customer relationship management, we need ecosystem constituent relationship management. So yes, more hands-on, more ethical people in the loop. That's I don't think we can trust AI to do that for us. So good question.
Thank you. Another question: how should AI system be designed to protect the privacy uh, and confidentiality of individual data while still provide valuable insight and service, examining the balance between leveraging data for AI advancement and safeguard personal information to prevent misuse and breach? What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is another good question. Brings to mind an enlightenment salon that I wish I could remember more of the specifics about. But the general idea was you could use a lot of patient health data without compromising privacy. And there's an algorithmic method where you can anonymize the patients, but you can still process the data set. So you can see what kinds of outcomes are happening, what kinds of correlations and causations are happening without compromising patient privacy. So that's always a problem. I'm studying cybersecurity right now, and we talk about threat vectors and attack surfaces. So it's really a cat and mouse game. You have to have continual red team, blue team kinds of games, continuous capture the flag kinds of penetration testing going on for your system. As we just saw, there was a huge computer outage based on a patch from CrowdStrike that apparently crashed the Microsoft kernel. So there's so much complexity multiplication when you're talking about applying fixes to very complex systems. You can't foresee every possibly malevolent or malicious, not even malicious, but just a bad outcome. The code can not be compatible with another piece of code that no one thought to check. Or, there's an old saying that I think the Defense Department came up with that a program with more than 1 million lines of code is effectively undebuggable. So that's an example of complexity multiplication, kind of like the 3-body or 4-body problem in physics, where you have so much uncertainty with interacting components of a system that you just have to allow for that, and you have to design around complexity multiplication.
Thank you. My last question for you: how can we involve diverse stakeholders, including underrepresented and marginalized communities, in the development and oversight of AI technologies, especially focusing on the inclusive practice in AI development to ensure that the needs and concern of all social groups are addressed and the AI benefit everyone equitably? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think we have an inclusive enough culture of mentorship. We've got all these people that are aging and they have all this institutional knowledge, and when an old person dies, someone said it's like a library. It just burned down. So we need to have these libraries being open to younger people and having the metaphorical books being checked out. I see an amazing space for actually my favorite hobby, which is amateur radio. You can see my call sign there, KK6VDR. And amateur radio is so great for teaching STEM and STEAM as well. The science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. You can learn about wireless communication, which is not just cell phones, and it's not just your regular walkie-talkies, but it's amazing ways that you can do centimeter precision GPS, just based on things like terrestrial coordinate calibration, optical calibration with other systems. And this is the Internet of Things is only going to become more revolutionary and more of a driver of economic prosperity. But yeah, it's amateur radio is already a very diverse hobby. I would say it's not just a hobby; it's actually an essential public service. But we've got 3 million people in hundreds of countries around the world that are using amateur radio to talk to each other, and that is inclusion. That is inclusion. That is mentoring. So that's kind of my favorite example of peer-to-peer inclusivity. But we should be doing it in every example. We need to break down language barriers. We need to break down cultural biases and prejudices. It's not an easy thing to do. It's something that you have to actively do, or you're probably just going to automatically kind of be, your own little in-group, your own Dunbar number of perhaps 250 people that you can trust during a lifetime is one anthropologist has calculated that we have a kind of built-in community for every human. But I'm glad you're asking that question. It's a question that we need to keep asking and keep continuously improving on.
Thank you. We are developing some case study on particular AI ethics and bias. And for ethical considerations, we develop privacy and confidentiality, informed consent, transparency, accountability and equity, fairness, and clinical validations. And for bias mitigation strategy, we do focus on diverse data set, bias detection, inclusive design and development, continuous monitoring, education and training. We do focus on education and training program from our institutions. And for AI healthcare system, we provide bias training data, disparities in access, and social economic bias. And we are developing different kind of case study. For developing case study, we focus on data review, data augmentations, bias detection, and feedback loop. Hopefully, through this process, we can create a very good AI, and we do focus on AI ethics and bias mitigations. And thank you, Mr. Dan, for all of your help. And right now our country has a lot of trouble. Many of our students died. Many of my communities died.
Right.
We don't have internets. We don't even bank system stops. My family right now, I'm in USA, in Silicon Valley, and my family right now in Dhaka. Last 3-4 days, even I cannot communicate with my family. Pray for my family, pray for my people, and support Bangladesh students. I'm also a son of a freedom fighter, but definitely my father go for what we call Mukti Juddho. As a freedom fighters, he go for a better nations. So hopefully, all of our complexities and other things will be solved, and we need all of your support. This is critical time. We need all of your support. I know that America has a very good culture. I hear from my fathers in 1971, many of American people, they support Bangladesh, especially through the George Harrison concert. So this is high time. We have another revolutions. We need all of your support. I request our government, please, this is human. This is young people. Young population is our asset. You cannot kill young people, and you cannot deploy army. So I request everyone, please help. This is very high time. Naturally, I never ask for too much of help from World Talent Economic Forum, but individually me, I'm nothing. But let's say the Transhumanist Party and everybody help us. Maybe we can protect our young community. We can protect our 170 million people. I request our Honorable Prime Minister, please help our community, stop all kind of things. I request our student, please stop these things, because human lives is very valuable. And I develop talent economy. So talent economy, we do concern on human life. Human life is important for me, important for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Dan, for your continuous support. I know you are also running mate of Tom Rose. So hopefully through these kind of sessions, you will get more popularity, or you will get your support from your USA people. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care. I request all of our audience, please share our content as much as possible.
Live long and prosper. Glad to help raise awareness on the problems of our Earth.
Thank you. Thank you.